shit. All she want is payback for the way I always.
Welcome back to Mediocre Gamers. This is Crimson, and this is going to be an updated video on how to use my Marvel Champions mod on Tabletop Simulator. So the first part is kind of learning where everything's at. So that's what we're going to go through first. So in this area, we have our heroes, and we'll zoom in here. And you'll see that the heroes are double-sided. You press F to do the switch between them, and then you'll have their bag. Inside the bag, you will find their hero card, the normal version of their hero card in case you don't want to use the full art one. You'll find their 15 signature cards and their Nemesis and Obligation deck. Alright. The next area, we have Rhino set up already. What Rhino will be, so if this is your first time playing, you're going to want to play against Rhino. This is Rhino's, all three of his identities, his deck, and then if this is your very first time playing, you would go normal Rhino, so Rhino 1, 2, standard set, which you'll see we have the standard and the expert over here, and then each of the modular sets. So in this one we would go standard, and how I did that is if you press and hold, you'll see how it loses that highlight there. That means you can move the whole bag. If you press and hold real quick and then move before that highlight comes up, you'll take out what's in the bag. So we'll flip it over, drop it on there. This set also requires your bomb scare. Bomb scare is the first one here. Okay, now that's sideways. Turn things different ways. You hit Q and E, but you're going to want to set this, because most likely this is set at 15. You'll want to change this to 90. At 90, you can do a full sideways tap. Drop that in there. And then you would take your obligation card. Now, as long as this stack is bigger than this stack, when you drop this on there, it'll resize it to that size. To shuffle a deck, you just hit R. Now the other thing that you're going to want to do right away is click on your name and click change color. This way, when you draw a card, it'll go to your hand. Okay, so getting familiar with the board here. Hero cards, starter villain. The red ones are other villains. The white ones are modular sets. These are your tokens. And these are life counters. We do have life counters for the core set ones. Unfortunately, I do not have Green Goblin or Wrecking Crew life counters. These are your starter decks. So these are the decks that the game came with. Then we have our aspect cards. So here's all your basic aspects plus your neutral. This is your first player token. These are state changing tokens. So if I put this here, notice this is 1, 2. So if I hit 2, it'll change it to 3. If I hit 1, it changes it back to 1. I would love to get a set of these. Oh, you cannot place them back in there. That's why we have this little trash can here. Okay. So now that we have an idea of where everything's at just on your basic playboard. Oh, here's also your hero life counters. So, first thing we're looking at here first is building a deck. How do you build a deck in this game? Well, this program is very tactile. So everything is pretty much as if it was on your real table at home. So let's say we're going to make She-Hulk. Let's go She-Hulk Justice, because, well, if anybody knows me very well, I always prefer Justice. Alright, so we know we have 15 cards in the basic deck, in her signature, and we can have up to 40 normal cards. 40 cards in the deck, or minimum 40 cards in the deck. So, I'm a fan of this. I like this one, but I don't like too many of them. Obviously, I love the allies. For She-Hulk, I definitely do like these great responsibilities, because I want to take damage. Get that Gamma Slam going. I really like For Justice. Not a fan of Concussive Blow, so I'm not going to play any. Now, again, make your deck how you want to make it. I just feel this card costs too much. I'm also not a big fan of the rooms. Not going to worry about these right now. Followed, I do not mind. And then here's your Power of. Well, looks like we still got some room. No. Yes. Now, also, if you had noticed, there's only one Mockingbird in the stack. Mockingbird is a unique character. Notice a little star by her name at the top there? That indicates that it is a unique card, and you can only put one in your deck. You can also only have one in play, no matter who has it. So if you play your Mockingbird and you're playing a 2-player game, your partner cannot play their Mockingbird. So you will notice that if you can only have one in the deck, you will only find one in the stack. So Avengers Mansion is not a unique card, but it is max one per player. So once you have one in play, you cannot play another one unless it is destroyed. But you can have up to 4 in the deck. And it is also not unique, so in the aspect that if your partner plays one, you can still play one. These are also max 1 per deck. These are not unique, but they are unique. They have the stipulation that you can only put one of them in your deck. And they are based on the name, so you can have one of each. It's not like I can only have one energy and I can't have these. No, you can have one of each in the deck, and we will definitely be putting one of each in the deck. That's a maybe card. And that's all I'm doing, is I'm just sorting cards into piles, and with like maybes, cards that I'm interested in. So like, I definitely like Downtime. That will bring her recovery up to 7. Means you only have to recover a little less. I also like hit points because of Gamma Slam. Allows her to do a little bit more damage. So it looks like I have room for one more card. I was thinking about first aids, but I don't want to just put one first aid in the deck. So, let's see if we can grab one more card from here. Not a super big fan of it, but it's a decent card. Okay. So, we have our deck. Okay, so don't put your obligation in there like I did first. So I'm going to right click on the deck, go to search, find my obligation. Because the first thing you should do before you do anything with the villain is make your deck. Once you have a deck made, perfect. So take your She-Hulk bag here that's empty, drop in your obligation and your Nemesis deck, click and drop in your hero deck and your character deck. Right click on it It's already named She-Hulk. You might want to change the name to like Justice. So that way you know which She-Hulk it is. And then if you click on Save Objects, you'll go to this screen. Now you can just save it right here, or you can have multiple folders. But for now, we're just going to save it there. So what that means is you can go to Objects up here, go over to Saved Objects, and this is all your saved objects. If you want to create folders, that's the button for creating folders. And then mine is a mess. Yours will not be a mess like this. There we go, She-Hulk Justice. And then we'll notice that it is exactly the way it was when we saved it. Okay. Now, you have different villains here. These are little tokens to help you, because I have found that putting drones out for Ultron is a little tough. So I like to, you know, put a little drone counter on them. Alright, see how I resize that? So how you do that is you highlight, you hover over something, and you hit plus or minus. We'll change that. Also, if it's pretty hard to read this, right? Like you can't see what that does. If you hover over it and hold Alt, you'll bring up a bigger version. Now I'm still holding the Alt key down, and I can do that on anything. Now, if I still couldn't read that very well, you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, using your mouse wheel button. Okay. Now, once you have your deck ready, you've saved it, you can grab a playmat. Playmats are over here. We're going to search here. We're going to find our She-Hulk playmat. There we go. Found a She-Hulk playmat. Okay. So it's pretty big, and again, you can resize this as you see fit. So if you're just playing a solo game, yeah, bigger's better. If you need to make room for other players, you can make it a little smaller. So that way you can have one here and one here for a 2-player game. Or you can make enough room here for 4 players. A lot of times I'll make my guys on the side play it sideways, like in Arkham Horror. Drives them nuts. Okay. Also, to copy something, just like Windows, Control C, Control V. To delete something, just highlight it, hit delete. But say this is the mat we want to use. We're just playing 1 player, but we want to, you know, we place a card here and then we go to move it. Oh, look, we moved our whole mat. Okay, when it's highlighted, hit the L button. This will now lock it, so that way we can't grab this mat anymore. It's now part of the table pretty much. The one downside is if you hit Alt, it will still show up like that. But we can move things over here. Oh, not going to accidentally move the mat. Yeah, okay. So for your first game, this is how you're going to be looking at your setup. I'll try to put those off to the side. Grab your She-Hulk token. Boom. And remember, R to shuffle. Make sure you've chosen a color. Now, to draw cards, you'll highlight the deck that you want to draw from, and you'll push a number. So in this instance, she has a hand size of 6. So we would highlight and hit the number 6. This will put 6 cards in her hand, and they're also here on the carousel. You can do all sorts of things in here. You can flip them face down, you can drag and drop. So say, I don't want that card in my opening hand, I don't want that card in my opening hand, and I don't want that in my opening hand. So we'll discard those, and now we can redraw 3 cards. So highlight the deck and hit 3. Boom. Now let's see here. The other thing here that I haven't shown is you can put out an arrow. So say you're playing with a buddy on tabletop and you maybe aren't using the Discord voice server. If you want to indicate something like, hey, check out her ability, that is just, all you have to do is tap tab. The tab key brings up the little pointer. If you press and hold the tab, you'll create a line. This should not be used most of the time here, but you could say indicate, yeah, okay, I'm going to attack there, or I'm going to attack this minion. But for the most part, you'll just hit tab. And then how you would just play it is you would just play it as normal, you know. Take this, flip, it's double-sided. 7 per player for the completion, 1 per player on the gaining. So say it's Rhino's turn and he gains a threat. Boom. Right click to remove, left click to add. Same thing here, left click to add, right click to remove. Same here. Add, remove. Now, you don't have to use this. You could just use the tokens. If you do, I suggest you lock the card in, and then you can just add the tokens that way. Same thing if a side scheme comes out. So say Bomb Scare comes out, flip, rotate. So Bomb Scheme comes out with 2 and then 1 per player. That's a total of 3. You could lock that into the board if you want. See, now we can't move it. L to unlock it when we need to get rid of it. So 3, or you could just put 3 copies. Now remember, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Same thing with your hand here. So say you want to play this Avengers Mansion, which actually you probably want to play this one first. So we will go ahead and actually no. So notice I could even draw from my discard pile. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sadly, we won't be able to play that. We've got to get the Avengers Mansion out. Tap the Avengers Mansion to draw a card. Wasn't the card we needed. We can flip over. We can hit him for 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and when he flips, deal 2. And that's kind of the process that you're going to take. It's going to be very similar to when you're playing in, on a normal table. It's a very physics-based program. Things can be moved, things can be flipped, things can be tapped, untapped, things can be reshuffled. So grab your deck, flip it, drop it on your deck, shuffle. Also say maybe you have something that says, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Okay, so remember, 1-2 punch is the top card. So if your deck is face down, go to search. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say if you're playing single player, if you're playing with other people, you should just drag the top 5 cards. So that way they know that you're not cheating or something, but boom. Okay. Grab Nick Fleury if it'll say search for an ally or something. And then most likely, okay. So here's some other ones. So notice I did the drag to select multiple things. Now I can use them all there. I can also hit G to group. Now they're grouped in one pile, and I can move it back to the top of the deck. Also, so I have these 3 cards. I want to put them back on the top. Notice how the deck highlights? That's indicating that these 3 cards will drop onto the deck. Okay, so don't forget your first player token if you're playing multiple people. And then these are the starter decks, so feel free to, if this is your first time, using these. Now the big one. If you scroll with the mouse wheel, you'll notice there's a big thing over here. So I'm going to just go over this real quick. First one, most important thing to know, so let's get rid of these cards out of our hand. Black Widow and Doctor Strange are on the table. They are not down here because these are not released yet. I will only put released product down here. Also, since I don't personally have these cards yet, the scans are not the best, as you can tell from that. But it is readable, it is playable. Use them at your own risk. And then you'll have your Doctor Strange and Black Widow here, and then your aspects that they came with. So like Doctor Strange came as protection, Black Widow came as justice, and then these were the extra cards that came in the pack. Those will all get moved into here when they are released. You'll also notice these 4 cards here. These are promo cards from the media or monthly champions podcast. These are pretty much the 3 co-hosts. Well, there is a 4th, so we'll probably be removing the doggy and adding in the 4th host. They are exactly the same as the Power of Justice normal one. It just has, you know, an avatar that somebody made for us. These things are awesome. I love them. I use them all the time. You don't have to. Alright. So, red is villains. These are custom cards. So, if you want to play against something new, you can grab this villain instead. And the whole thing's there. And these are custom heroes that the community has made. And so if you want to play with a hero that, you know, is different, and these are all fan-made, these are not official in any way, shape, or form. Enjoy them, you know, play around, have some fun. Some of them are overpowered, some of them are a little weak. You know, that's just the nature of custom content. These are modulars. Like this guy actually put a difficulty on there, so that way you can kind of know how hard that's going to be. These are kind of your sets. So Fantastic Four, we have Doctor Strange or Doctor Doom in a scroll, and then we have the 4 Fantastic Four. Same thing with X-Men. Some custom heroes. And even some DC custom stuff. Lex Luthor, Flash, Wonder Woman. By the way, if you notice, there's no Superman. What's up, guys? Where's my Superman? And then these are some modules that are, you know, good with these guys. These are villains. These are heroes. Same thing here. Heroes, villains, a module, and some aspect cards. These are mainly just allies to play with them. The same thing, some aspect cards to go with this if you're gonna play Fantastic Four, and, you know, a modular set. So that is, oh, also very important, rules reference guide, how to learn to play, and your phase cards. Phase cards are double-sided, so feel free to use them. And then if after a while you've been through all the basic content and you want a little bit more challenge, these are environment cards that you can put into play at the beginning, and they're a little they make the villain a little harder. So say you beat Rhino on expert every time with, you know, Doomsday Chair. Please go ahead and try that. It's rather rough. You can add in the Horn of Rhino and make it a little bit more challenging. But that is for, you know, people who have been playing for a while. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. This is just an update on how to use the mod. There are definitely more resources out there to learn how to get the mod, how to use Tabletop Simulator in general. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. Thank you and have a wonderful day.